Good afternoon, my beloved TV friends, and Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube. On the line, I have another highly esteemed friend, Hoshina Seki, and she gave a speech on gender. And Hoshina, give us a background on that and give us a speech, would you?
Oh, sure, Glendora. Thank you very much for having me today, so I can give you my speech, and I'm really delighted to be able to do this.
Yes.
I gave this speech on September 30th, 2023, in Berkeley, California, at the Jodo Shinshu International Office on Gender Equality.
Tell me what the name of it, where you gave the speech. Tell me again where you gave it.
The organization is called Jodo Shinshu International Office, or they shorten it for JSIO.
Okay.
Okay? And I was basically the host and moderator for the event. So they asked me to give my opening comments about gender equality.
Okie doke.
Okay, so here's what I said. In 2015, the United Nations put together 17 goals to create a better world by 2030. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are a call for action by all countries, poor, rich, and middle income, to promote prosperity while protecting the planet. They recognize that ending poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and address various social needs, including education, health, social protection, and job opportunities, while tackling climate change and environmental protection. This is our second year addressing these goals. Last year, we focused on goal number 7, affordable clean energy. Today, we will discuss goal number 5, gender equality. At the UN states, gender equality is a fundamental human right and a foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. There has been progress over the last decade, but the world is not on track to achieve gender equality by 2030.
Oh.
The social and economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic has made the situation even bleaker. Progress in many areas, including time spent on unpaid care and domestic work.
Oh.
Decision-making regarding sexual and reproductive health and gender-responsive budgeting is falling behind. Women's health services, already poorly funded, have faced many disruptions. Violence against women remains endemic, and despite women's leadership in responding to the COVID-19, they still trail men in securing the decision-making positions they deserve. Commitment and bold action are needed to accelerate progress, including promoting laws, policies, budgets, and institutions that advance gender equality. Greater investment in gender statistics is vital, since less than half of the data required to monitor goal number 5 is currently available. With only 7 years remaining, a mere 16% of goal 5 indicators with a data are on track. 61% are at a moderate distance, and 23% are far or very far off track from 2030. 2030 targets. In many areas, progress has been too slow. At current rate, it will take an estimate 300 years to end child marriage, 286 years to close gaps in legal protection and removing discriminatory laws, 140 years for women to be represented equally in positions of power and leadership in the workplace, and 47 years to achieve equal representation in national parliaments. I learned on NPR that during the AIDS crisis, women were not allowed to participate in AIDS trial medications. Today, the Taliban bans Afghan women working for non-government agencies. In regions where the ban has been strictly imposed, it has impeded the ability of aid workers to register and verify cases of families that needed aid. As you can see, gender equality is a big issue we must address now. Today, our panel will look at gender equality from 3 different religious points of view and solutions. And then I go into introducing our guest speakers.
Now, honey, if it isn't too much of an imposition, that is loaded with facts and consequences. Would you mind just doing that speech again?
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. Would you mind that, honey?
Oh, no. I'll be happy to, if you like me to.
Yes, there's so much in there. I want to hear it again.
Okay. In 2015, the United Nations put together 17 goals to create a better world by 2030. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are a call for action by all countries, poor, rich, and middle income, to promote prosperity while protecting the planet. They recognize that ending poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and address various social needs, including education, health, social protection, and job opportunities, while tackling climate change and environmental protection. This is our second year addressing these goals. Last year, we focused on goal number 7, affordable clean energy. Today, we will discuss goal number 5, gender equality. As the UN states, gender equality is a fundamental human right and a foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. There has been progress over the last decade, but the world is not on track to achieve gender equality by 2030. Social and economic fallout from COVID-19 pandemic has made the situation even bleaker. Progress in many areas, including time spent on unpaid care and domestic work, decision-making regarding sexual and reproductive health, and gender-responsive budgeting, is still behind. Women's health services, already poorly funded, have faced many disruptions. Violence against women remains endemic, and despite women's leadership in responding to COVID-19, they still trail men in securing the decision-making positions they deserve. Commitment and bold action are needed to accelerate progress, including promoting laws, policies, budgets, and institutions that advance gender equality. Greater investment in gender statistics is vital, since less than half of the data required to monitor Goal 5 is currently available. With only 7 years remaining, a near 16% of Goal 5 indicators with data are on track. 61% are at a moderate distance, and 23% are far 300 years to end child marriage, 286 years to close a gap in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws, 140 years for a woman to be represented equally in positions of power and leadership in the workplace, and 47 years to achieve equal representation in the national parliament. I learned on NPR that during the AIDS crisis, women were not allowed to participate in aid trial medications. Today, the Taliban bans Afghan women for working for non-governmental agencies. In regions where the ban has been strictly imposed, it has impeded the ability of aid workers to register and verify cases of families that need aid. As you can see, gender equality is a big issue we must address now. Today, our panel will look at gender equality from 3 different religious points of views and solutions. Our first speaker is Amina Jandali. Amina is a founding member of ING, where she co-designed and developed ING's educational presentations and cultural competency seminars. She has delivered hundreds of presentations in schools, colleges, universities, churches, and other venues on Islam and related subjects. She currently teaches a class on Islam at the City College of San Francisco. Amina achieved her MA in Near Eastern Studies from the University of California, Berkeley, and her BA in History from the University of Illinois. Our next speaker is Reverend Motoye Yamada IV. Is passionate about moving churches towards a more missional and spiritual force, and has a wealth of experience in a variety of different organizational levels of the United Methodist Church. Reverend Ford is currently the senior pastor at the Sacramento Japanese United Methodist Church in Sacramento, California, and has joined the Congregational Vitality and AMP International Discipleship Team as the new director of the Adult Discipleship at Discipleship Ministries. And our last speaker is Reverend Dr. Jeff Wilson, is a professor of religious studies and East Asian studies at Renaissance University College and University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada. Dr. Wilson is the author of Buddhism of the Heart, Reflections on Shin Buddhism and Inner Togetherness, Mindfulness, America, the Mutual Transformation of Buddhist Meditation and American Culture, and other books. He received his Tokudo ministerial ordinations at the Nishiwan Ganji in 2012. And then, at the end of the talks and everything, I gave a short closing remark.
Say that again?
At the end of my talk, I gave a short closing my closing remark.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yes, we have to hear that.
Yeah. We hope these kinds of conversations are happening all over the world, so action can be taken. As Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General, said, sustainable development is more than a goal. It is our responsibility to our planet and future generations. Again, thank you for allowing me to be your moderator host. As some of you might know, I am the president of the American Buddhist Studies Center. Our mission is to encourage scholarly research in the great wisdom of Buddhist teachings and to foster compassion, mindfulness, and kindness to address social, economic, and environmental issues for a better world.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now,
That was my end.
now, I don't get the name of this organization to whom you presented this.
Let me see. How can I explain this organization to you? It's part of the Hon Temple, or of the Nishi Honganji in Kyoto, Japan. And they made an international office over here.
Oh, how nice!
Yeah, and they have director and the program director, and they're in a way they are propagating Jodo Shinshu, but in another way they're very looking at humanitarian causes, and is looking to have Jodo Shinshu on the international stage to address these issues. So that's why we're putting on these kinds of programs.
This is good, honey. How are they doing?
Oh, very well. Thank you. Yeah. The speech I just gave, they're creating a YouTube video on it.
Oh, good.
So, they haven't given it to me yet because they're editing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but as soon as I have it, or as soon as I know what it is, I will let you know.
Yes, good. Now, Hoshina Seki, spell your name for my friends.
It's Hoshina, and my last name is Seki, Seki.
Do those words mean anything in Japanese?
In the basic translation, Hoshina means star.
Oh.
And Seki is my family name, which is related to working for the government.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, now, Hoshina Seki, there's no doubt in my mind that it was the women's clubs that have kept Christianity going for 2,000 years with all their lunches.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the women's club's good food, I think the whole thing might have fallen apart, honey. That's a joke, honey. That's a joke. Now,
right.
Now, Hoshina, were you able to display your speech before anybody else?
No. This is the. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to repeat my speech.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm doing it since I gave the speech.
You worked awfully hard on that speech. All those facts that you brought out.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, may I tell your viewers if they want to see our website?
Yes, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Study website. They can go to AM, M for Mary, Buddhist, BUDDHIST.org, O-R-G.
Good. Say it again, please.
www.ambudDHIST.org.
And what are the first two letters? A-M?
Yeah, M.
M as in Mary?
M as in Mary, right.
Yeah.
So,
did you want to... Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say AM is short for American.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, American.
All right. And you want to know the best thing about the word American, Hoshina?
Oh, please tell me, Glendora.
The last four letters are I can.
ICAN. Yes, I
Yeah,
can.
that's right. Do you want to hear today's joke, Sonny?
I would love to hear today's joke. Thank you.
It was in the children's cafeteria, and there was a huge bowl of beautiful apples. And the sign said, "Take only one, God is watching." And down at the end of the line was a platter of cookies. And that sign said, "Help yourself, God is watching the apples." And
Thank you, Glenda. Thank you.
And the doctor said to the patient, "I have bad news and very bad news." And the patient, shaking and shivering, said, "Well, what's the bad news?" The doctor says, "You have 2 days to live." And the patient, shivering and shaking more so, said, "What's the very bad news?" And the doctor says, "I forgot to tell you yesterday." And the teacher said, "Johnny, I know you cheated on the test. You copied the answers of the girl sitting across the aisle from you. The first question was, who was the first president of the United States? And she wrote George Washington, and you wrote George Washington. And the second question was, who was president during the Civil War? And she wrote Abraham Lincoln, and you wrote Abraham Lincoln. And the third question was, who was president during the Louisiana Purchase? She wrote, I don't know, and you wrote, me neither."
That's cute. Thank you.
Yeah. And a man was very old, and he wasn't well, and everybody knew that he had very few days left. However, he was home. He was not in a nursing home. He was home, and his wife baked a batch of cookies. And he reached over and he took 2 of them. And she said, "Don't eat those. I need them for the funeral." And let's see the last one. What's the last one? Oh, a girl was noisy in church, and her mother whispered something into her ear. And the girl calmed right down, right to the very end of the service. "What did you whisper in your daughter's ears?" "I told her, if you make a commotion, the minister is going to lose his place and start the sermon all over." You know, you are Japanese and you are Buddhist, is that right?
That's right.
I am so impressed with the things that the Buddhists teach are exactly like the thing that Christianity teaches. For instance,
Yes.
let me give you one. Would be seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will follow. Now, how does Buddha say that? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will follow.
What was the first word you said?
Seek.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, seek. SEEK.
Seek.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will follow.
That's beautiful. I think in the in Buddhism, it's probably something like find yourself and all else will follow. Or
Yes.
that.
Yes, I can't see any difference.
Yeah.
Now let me give you another one. All things work for good for those who love the Lord and know the Lord's purpose.
I think I know there are a lot of Buddhist interpretations or Buddhist teachings that is very similar to what you just said.
Yes, I would imagine.
Yeah. I can't put my finger on a particular passage, but it's very, very similar. Very similar.
Does it come to mind?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the Buddha's first. The Buddha's first sermon was talking about the Four Noble Truths, and basically that life is suffering. That we have, a lot of. My brain went blank. Life is suffering, and the way to enlightenment is to understand our ego and our needs and everything like that. And it's a lot of the stuff that we think we want is not what we really want. So there are three things within the Four Noble Truths, and that's that are ingrained in us, and that's hate. We find things that we hate, and then there are things that we're very greedy about, that we need to have it. And then the third is anger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's greed, anger, and hate.
Yes.
Are the three
Right.
poisons of man, right?
Yes.
And women.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, Glendora, for sparking my brain. Waking up my brain.
Well, I probably should be punished for not telling you we were going to ask you this. But it's things that I think about constantly. Another one is, be ye blameless and harmless as a child of God without rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you that's all through Buddhism.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same kind of teachings that you just said.
Yeah.
Very similar to the Buddhist teachings.
Yeah.
Very similar, Glendora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really thank you for the opportunity for letting me give my little talk to you and your
Yeah.
and your station.
And then Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 4, the Apostle Paul said, I have learned to be content in no matter what state I find myself, and that includes the state of New York. And I've got to tell you about one of the funniest things that happened in church was the minister announced from the pulpit, we are going to start a men's study group. This afternoon at 5 o'clock, we are going to start a men's study group. And I stood up and I said, well, I'm coming. I've been studying men for 60 years and I don't understand them at all. Now, that's a gender joke, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a gender joke, for sure.
All right. Well, I want to thank you as ever. Our talks with you are really stimulating and worthwhile, dear. Is there anything I can do for you folks down there?
Excuse me?
Anything I can do for you folks down there in the American Buddhist Center? American Buddhist.
Yeah, we're doing fine. Thank you, Glendora. We're going to have a talk next week by a professor from, his name is Professor Aaron Prophet from, he teaches religion at SUNY in Albany.
Oh, he's right up here, my neighbor, huh?
Right. And he's going to be talking about Buddhism and the Lotus Sutra.
And how do you spell his name?
Aaron, Aaron, and his last name is Prophet, but it's with two T, Proffitt.
Prophet, that's a good name for him.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Your daddy was a Buddhist minister, and he's the one who founded the Buddhist temple on Riverside Drive in Manhattan.
Yes, he did in 1938.
And tell us about the history of that house that he bought.
Oh, it's a very rich history. The building that he bought for, not only did he start the New York Buddhist Church, he also started the American Buddhist Academy.
Oh.
School, yes, it was a school to teach people about the Buddhist teachings. He felt that some people might be afraid to come to a Buddhist temple because they might, people in the temple are going to convert them to be a Buddhist. So he felt that the best way to introduce Buddhism is to let people learn about Buddhism without being committed to being a Buddhist, or just people who are just interested in Buddhism. So with that in mind, he bought this building on Riverside Drive, which used to belong to Marion Davis.
Really?
Right, the silent movie star.
Yes.
I think she made a couple of talkie movies, I believe, in the very beginning. But anyway, she had this building that was given to her by Randolph Hearst.
Oh, the building was given to her?
Yeah, he bought the building for her.
Huh.
Because Randolph Hearst, this was on 105th Street, and Randolph Hearst, I believe, lived on 103rd Street or something. So it was very near his own place.
Oh.
Well, yeah, so anyway, the building, she kept the building, and then she became very wealthy herself.
Oh, she did?
Wealthy, yes. And she became got into real estate. So she bought a lot of property in California. I think she bought a hotel in California, and she was